Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Uh, Today we're going to have a little talk about whether or not you're ready to start homesteading. And I had that suggested to me by a subscriber, and it's got a little interesting twist to it of looking at the family as a whole. Okay? And at first I thought, I may not be the guy qualified to discuss that too much. Looking at some of the recent fun I've had. But the more I thought about it, the more it was like, yeah, I can sure tell them about a few pitfalls in the whole thing, and maybe help somebody avoid them. Okay? So, tell you what you do. Go on in the kitchen there to some fresh hot coffee, grab yourself a cup, drag up a chair, and we'll chat. See you in a second. Rich, how the heck are you folks today? Okay, well, we're going to be talking about starting out homesteading. What you want to do, and I did this in a previous video way back, talking about getting the family on the same page, especially the spouses. And it all sounds good when you're talking about it, son of a gun, isn't it great? We can live in the country, we can have fresh food, we can make money, we don't have to mess with the 9-to-5 jobs, yada, 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 right? And man, I'll tell you what, you can paint such a pretty picture that just about anybody would say, yep, that sounds good. You don't want to paint that kind of picture, folks. And let me tell you why. Because to be quite honest with you, homesteading is a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. Homesteading is a lot of sacrifice. And I mean a lot of sacrifice. Okay? Depending on the level you pick. Now, I got into this once before when I was talking to the difference between a self-sufficient homestead and other kind of homesteading. And had one lady just go a little crazy on me. Going, it doesn't have to be like that. Well, no, there are levels of homesteading, where you work a 9-to-5 job and you come home and you have a few fruit trees and a little garden and a couple of goats and some chickens. Okay, something easy to take care of. Different animal. Okay, and that may be what you want to talk about. You need to look at all these different aspects of homesteading and say, which one do I want to do? Which one fits my family? If you have a husband who likes to spend his weekend sitting in front of a TV, watching sports, sleeping till noon on Saturday, whatever, homesteading may not be a good selection for him. He sounds like a kind of an urban dweller. I had a fellow that I did a rant in one barn chat a little over a year or so ago that I'd gotten an email from a guy just raising 18 kinds of heck, saying I didn't understand the new homesteaders. Yeah, I did. And I really looked hard at what he was saying. And basically this fellow was roped into a homestead and found out he didn't much care for the lifestyle. It was hard work. It was draining. It was wearing him out. He was getting burned out. And I probably didn't help him much with giving him one of these toughen up buttercup kind of conversations. Okay? But I was happy to hear that he took some advice and decided to roll up his sleeves and give it the old school try. And I'm hoping he's still doing it, or him and his family came to terms. Careful of the picture you're painting when you're talking to your spouse and try to talk them into homesteading. Okay, your idea of homesteading and your spouse's idea of homesteading may be two entirely different things. You folks want to be on the same page. Okay? If not, it's not going to work. You're going to put stress on your relationship. You're going to put stress on your family. And it could lead to some pretty big problems down the road. Okay? This is firsthand experience telling you this now. It's not like, I'm just kind of pulling this out from underneath my hat. I'm not wearing a hat for one. Been there, done that. I've chewed that dirt. Okay? So understand, it can put a stress on you. Your husband may make a good living where he's at. He gets into a rural setting, he may not. See what I'm saying? And suddenly he's working twice as hard for half the money. That's going to frustrate him. Okay? Because men instinctively want to provide well for their families. If they can't do that, it makes it hard on them. Puts them under mental stress that you're not even aware is under the surface or boiling away. Okay? And they look around at the neighbors who seem to be doing just fine and they're struggling. And they feel like they're dropping the ball somewhere. And to those guys, I want to say, you may be in a situation where these guys have been doing this their whole life. This is where they grew up. They picked up from what their parents and grandparents left them and moved forward. You don't have that luxury. Okay? You're going into a new area. You're trying to establish yourself. All those things are handicaps to you, so don't take it too hard and too personal. It's the way it is. Okay? Just make sure that you're both on the same page. You understand what kind of homestead you want, what kind of hours are going to be devoted to it. Don't be in debt. Okay? You don't even want to attempt homesteading in debt. It's not going to work for you. All right? You need to get rid of that debt first. If there's any way humanly possible, be totally debt free. And not even have to carry a mortgage if you don't, if you can avoid that. You may not be able to get by with that because land is expensive. That's another thing. Infrastructure, expensive. Even down to livestock, expensive. Feed, expensive. It's all money, folks. It's all money coming out of your pocket all the time. And if you can't generate the sales off your land to pay those expenses, then you, one or both of you, are going to have jobs off the homestead, getting that income in there so that you can further the homestead with the dream of someday being self-sufficient or at least paying for its own cost. Get on the same page. Spend a lot of time talking about this, folks. Make sure you both understand what it's going to take. The wife may be looking at a beautiful little home in the country with some fruit trees and, some little chickens in the yard. Isn't that going to be great? But the husband's looking at, I don't want to be driving 2 hours back and forth to work to make a minimal amount of money. I want to get this place up and on its feet. Okay? Be advised. And if you two are moving off in two different directions, okay, you're liable to end up moving off in two different directions. It happens. Okay? And it's sad. And get a handle on it first, folks. Know that this is where you want to be. And as long as you can do that, and you're on the same page and you're feeling comfortable with it, that's good. The other thing I'd like to say is if you're two dominant, independent spirits that barely get along most of the time in an urban or suburban setting, don't do it. Okay? Because there are roles to play on a homestead. A man has a role and you have a role as a woman. Okay? Both roles are important. You're a team. You have to work together. You have to get out there shoulder to shoulder and get it done. If you're not willing to do that, and you want to, battle back and forth of who's the boss, you're going to have problems. All right? So keep these kind of things in mind. Spend a lot of time talking before you make the move. It's a lot of fun to look for land. It is a lot of fun looking for a homestead or a house or all these things. All that's a lot of fun. But once you hit that ground and you start working that land, it's not as much fun anymore. Now it becomes a job. All right? And it's probably going to be one of those jobs where you're also going to have another job along with it. So use your head. Keep your wits about you. Okay? Don't get silly. Know that you know. Know that you're on the same page. Know what your goals are. Take it from there. Talk, talk, and talk. Understand each other and understand what you're striving for. No gray area, folks. That gray area will jump up and bite you. Okay? Because you may fill in that gray area with pink and he may be filled in with blue. And then suddenly you got nothing but a mess. Please try to keep that in mind. As Rich from Tennessee Homestead, I love you guys and appreciate you. And that's about the best advice I can give you. Know that you know. Spend time talking and get on the same page. Write it all out. Know exactly what you're planning to do. And then my best piece of advice and the greatest piece of advice, you make sure God stays in the forefront of the whole thing. Because if he ever is out of the forefront, I can guarantee you got issues coming. Really, you do. Love you guys. You take care. We'll talk to you later.